I'm your girl, Sheree Darien. You're listening to WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And yes, Savannah, it is your girl. We're glad to be back on again. We've been recording for the last 3 days an amazing documentary on small business right here in the Low Country. So my name is Sheree Darien, and first and foremost, I am a mommy and a nana. But aside from that, I am passionate about creating second chances. Someone once described me as a woman born to advocate, to establish, to govern and raise standards, to mobilize others to have a sustainable quality of life. And so I am passionate about second chances, and in short, what that means is I help build legacies.
Sheree is a force to be reckoned with. I first met Sheree personally when she was on the committee that was helping to manage our Jasper Community Fund, which is a geographic field of interest fund that works with Jasper County. And I was just really impressed with her passion and her energy and her idea. She's an idea person. She's always got an idea on what she wants to do. So that was my first exposure to Sheree, and she's just a very impressive individual.
I definitely am a fan of Lisa Nichols, and the reason being is she has a story of triumph, hitting rock bottom and really pulling herself up, bold in her truth of who she really is, the essence. That is something I had to learn. My life has been so fast forward.
So watching her go through some really major life challenges, personally, in work, and finding her roots again in serving through the banking industry and making a difference, I can't really say that was evolving, because it's who I met her to be at the very beginning, and then saw her rise through and walk together those really painful times.
And so being in this space today, or being able to look into the mirror, into my own eyes, and feel good about that person, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But for me, it's a real woman with a real story, and just dared not to give up. It's me.
My husband Les and I came from New Jersey to South Carolina after reading an article in the Wall Street Journal about the Corridor of Shame, which was a documentary. And we saw that there was a great need in this part of South Carolina for different approaches to education to reach children where they are, their learning styles, how they would approach what they learn in a classroom. And parents ask us, would you start a charter school? Through the process of that and starting a charter school, you need a board. And we started out with a board, and I report to a board as the executive director. They're my boss. I think it was our second year, Sheree Darien came onto our board. By way of me, my husband and I saw an article that she wrote in one of the local papers. And she heard about us, and there was that connection. And so, long story short, she joined the board and was on the board for quite a number of years and made a huge difference for our school in the leadership that she gave to the board. And I really value what she did for us.
Well, with my church, we first met Sheree as she was a bank officer. We met her on several different occasions in doing financial transactions, along with in the community as a leader. Oftentimes, whenever we're doing things in the community, Sheree has always been a part. She's always put her hands in those areas.
As I was actually on my way to work at Bank of America in Pooler, Georgia, I was on this road. And I arrived at this stop sign. And as I stopped, which is no longer a stop sign, it used to be a stop sign here. I stopped at this stop sign, and I promise you, in my heart, I heard God saying, "Look down there." To which I replied, "I don't see nothing down there." And it was Regis Bank. And lo and behold, I actually ended up applying. They had a job opportunity. I applied for the job and I got hired. And when in my interview, the branch manager said to me, Vicky Sweat, who I love, said to me, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" To which I responded, "In your seat." And the rest is history. I stayed at Regions Bank for nearly 10 years after that event. And had I not had that experience in banking, I would not be pursuing my purpose today. But it was after working there that I realized that it was so much more for me to do. My purpose was so much bigger than working in a local branch. It was actually creating second chances for people. And we're going to do that by helping them start small businesses. Show them. Watch video games. Right?
Yeah.
So seriously, when I left Regions Bank, what were some of the thoughts that went through your mind at the time? Did you even understand?
Bank again? What year was that?
2014.
So we were still in school then. You graduated 2015, I graduated 2016.
We was in college.
College, yeah. That's
So we was off.
Yeah, we wasn't.
So it didn't seem like a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Well, you just weren't here.
Yeah, it didn't really phase me.
Well, as a banker, and I often joke that it was like paparazzi going in the grocery store here, because when I was in the position of authority, they didn't care about the marquee outside with the bank name on it. They were looking for Sheree. They were looking for the manager, the decision maker. And when my hands was tied, after obviously understanding truly how the banking system worked, it worked for some, but not for all. And we understand why, right? So I understand you need to have a good credit or the reasons why. I understand as the banker why, but the people that needed it did not. There's a disconnect.
2014, I was already in the Air Force, and just my personality in general, I'm very methodical in the things that I do. So just see my mother just quit a job, and I don't know how well that was communicated throughout the family. I think she just quit. Sounded like not the best way forward, at least because I don't think. Did you have a plan?
It was an act of faith. It
Okay.
was an act of blind faith, really.
Mm-hmm.
There was no methodical plan, step by step, here's what you're going to do now.
However, but it was a journey. I think you've had to learn a lot throughout
Absolutely.
this time. So 2014 was 7 years difference.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're starting to gain momentum now.
Right.
But there was definitely a low period.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Kudos on you for just sticking with it.
Yeah.
And now hopefully with continued efforts and works that you'll reap the benefits of your hard work and dedication, just taking the leap.
But you saw the consistency in not throwing in the towel when I wanted to throw in the towel so many times and had an opportunity to throw in towels. And when I was working for the bank, I watched this documentary, a very enlightening documentary that was actually narrated by Tyler Perry, but it was produced by American Express. And the name of the documentary is called Spent, S-P-E-N-T. Looking for change, like you spent all your money and you were digging through the couch trying to find some money. That revealed to me a grand opportunity, and that is providing access to capital, but also technical assistance to small businesses or those that are most vulnerable among us so that they can live a better life.
Systematically, we know that whenever minorities go to banks or to these institutions, these lending institutions, oftentimes it's two scales. If we can have a financial institution now lends that money or helps that minority group or those small businesses on the same level, same grading system, then we can begin to close that gap because we have amazing ideas, but then we don't have the capital to launch those businesses.
Yes, our small businesses, of course, are just the backbone of our economy. The small businesses are there when the community needs help, churches or schools or anything. It's the small businesses that are so helpful throughout the community. And Ms. Darien's just been a great asset in promoting small businesses.
I believe that the greatest vehicle to wealth creation is small business ownership. So the goal of Second Chance CDFI is to be that assistance to provide that vehicle, if you will, so that they can start their businesses. But not just start their business, we want them to start it, to launch it, to grow, but ultimately scale it. We want them to be sustainable. And the only way that they can do that is by having the funding that they need to start correctly and have proper, obviously, cash flow, but also to have the business operational support so that they can actually run the business the way it's supposed to.
A lot of people have ideas to start a business, but they don't have the capital to do that. So they need the opportunity to borrow some of those funds to get started, or in some cases, to be able to expand beyond where they are.
The SBA actually releases statistics year after year that most businesses fail within the first 5 years. And so we wanted to change that narrative or that statistic. And we actually unpacked it by doing some research to understand why they fail. And the reason why is because they aren't financially sophisticated, or a very common term is they struggle with financial literacy.
And how important do you feel access to financial education is for the minority community?
I think it's extraordinarily important. I feel like there are so many opportunities for equipping people with the tools that they may not have already. And I think that there's an assumption in our community that people just automatically know these things, and they don't. Whether it's minorities, youth, you name it. People don't know necessarily.
But in addition to the capital, the money, most entrepreneurs think they need money to operate a business. It's not just the money. It includes the money. It is inclusive of the money, but they also need the business operational support. And we're super excited about being able to provide all of those things so that they can, again, scale.
Hardeeville has been traditionally a very large African American community in the core community. When I say core community, up until about 20 years ago, Hardeeville was a 5 square mile community. It is now 56 square miles. But that core community continues to be the heart of Hardeeville, the history of Hardeeville. Hardeeville now has a different dynamic happening. We are the #1 growing community in Jasper County for Hispanics. So both of those demographics, both of those communities are the heart of Hardeeville. And we need to understand the needs to educate them, to give them opportunities to prosper, and to raise the level of their standard of living.
But I saw an opportunity, many opportunities for people that look like me. Not just me, my ethnicity, but my community. And so this year is very special for us because we are partnering with other people or organizations that have their finger on the pulse. The Waterson South Atlantic Bank meeting that we attended a few weeks ago was also in alignment with our mission and vision, and that is to create or increase business ownership among minorities. And so the owner of Burnt Church Distillery and his companies, as well as South Atlantic Bank, invited us to a roundtable discussion. in which we are looking at ways to actually partner so that we can help mobilize more minorities so that they can also start, launch, grow, and scale their businesses. And we're super excited about it. Look at Justin, guys. #1 player in South Carolina per Mr. Woods.
Yeah, Justin Johnson.
And look at his entourage.
Oh yeah, watch your so sexy. Oh my God.
What Second Chance Community Outreach does is, while we are all things entrepreneur and small business ownership, we also want to give our youth an opportunity also to experience what it's like to own a business. Most children go to school and then they prepare for college. But there are some of us that actually go to school, high school, graduate, and want to start their own businesses. And so at the PGA event, I'll tell you, the food manager from Proof in the Pudding reached out to the nonprofit, Second Chance, and asked could we actually assist them in that particular event, in which we actually recruited about 10 volunteers, 8 of which are students. And we took those students with us. They got to experience what it's like to operate a full business by operating the concession stands. So they processed POS systems, they took transactions, customer service 101, they prepared meals, and they served beverages. And it was phenomenal. We did that for 4 days at an amazing event at the Congaree Golf Course, an event that was supposed to take place in Canada. But because of COVID restrictions, they chose Congaree, the 35th ranking golf course in the world, to actually hold it here. I also want to give a shout out to my dad, because he actually worked at this plantation. It was formerly Devant Plantation that they have now made a billionaire golf club called Congaree. He worked there for 30 years and got to experience what it is now versus what it was then. Amazing experience.
You know what? I always tell Sheree, I said, bring it and let's go. Because I've seen her, like I said, I've seen her grown and seen her blossom. So I would, Sheree just said, sis, I have this in mind, let's go for it. And I think because I've seen her and I've seen her grown, and I know her honesty, and I know that she's very loyal to her business and whatever she wants to do. And when she puts her mind to it, I know she's like ready to go for it. And so, but whatever she decides to do, I'm ready, to help her
Well, we
out.
definitely want to inspire people to dream, and not just dream, but fulfill their dream. Daydreaming is one thing, but execution is the key. And so we want to speak directly to the entrepreneurs or those aspiring entrepreneurs that may want to start their business, and let them know, 1, that you can do it. 2, that you don't have to do it alone. 3, that we are here to assist them in that process. If they start it right, they can be successful. So we want to be here as a bridge, as a support to help them in that process. No person has to go at starting a business alone, because when you do and you're bootstrapping and you don't have things set up properly, you end up doing more harm than good. And so we want to set people up for success. That's the intention of Second Chance Community Outreach, as well as our brand new Business Empowerment Center that will be opening.